Would you mind tag me at the Facebook? That's it.
The sorry, the what?
Do you mind? It'll be posted in Facebook, right?
We don't do Facebook. What we
Oh,
do is that, yeah, we're gonna record this session and then we're gonna post it in the website that I've mentioned to you, the post 22.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, if all of you go to post 22, I'll just direct the students first, yeah?
Mm.
Hold on, let me just share the link in this chat section. Okay, I'll share the link here for the rest who's here. Okay, we shall record this session and we will share it through that link. Okay, humanities.utm.my post edutech PG bootcamp. So this talk actually meant specifically for postgraduate students. However, it's open as well to anyone who would like to listen. So Dr. Zulfikar, I'm asking your permission. I'll record this and upload it later. Yeah, I hope you don't mind.
No worries.
All
No
right.
worries.
So
I,
everyone,
I
we're
won't. I won't bring up any controversial issues. No worries.
hopefully not. So everyone, we're thankful that Dr. Zulfikar willing to share his experience and expertise. He's the director of Counseling Center, UTM Counseling Center. So if you have anything to do with that, not necessarily have to be a problem with personal problem, right? Not necessarily personal problem, just anything you can refer to Dr. Zulfikar, the director. Yeah. So that Dr. Zulfikar, shall I hand over to you then?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Thank you
Thank you so
so
much,
much,
Dr.
Dr.
Zaliha.
Zulfikar. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zaliha. Despite of having have to run here and there, um, with the busy schedule, and Alhamdulillah, thank you for the invitation. Since January, if I'm not mistaken, you have booked my schedule, and let me just start with the topics today, yeah, straight away. Because since that we're gonna have like 1 hour for the sessions, let's just utilize the moments with me, inshallah. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'du. Um, again, thank you so much for inviting me for these sessions. It's gonna be more on sharing, either sharing knowledge and expertise and experiences on regards to the topics that we're going to talk today. It's about how to cope with stress, depressions, and anxiety. This is not something new. This is something that everyone undergo, going through difficult time, um, on a basic principle that everyone's. I mean, we are human beings. You know, these are things that we face every day. As a matter of fact, every moment, every single seconds in life. I had a sessions a few days ago under the PGSS FABU, in regards to the topic as well. So I'm not sure whether some of you guys were there. And pretty much it's going to be like, not to say in depth, but yeah, so I've asked Dr. Zaliha to inform that this will be more on interactive. So if you do have any questions, any doubts, or things that you'd like to raise or you search for an answer, inshallah, I'll try my best to assist you within my limited experiences and knowledge and expertise. So, and again, Dr. Faiz, the Deputy Director of the OSH UTM, is here as well. So when we talk about um coping with stress, depression, and anxiety, when I mentions that as long as we are a normal human being, you know, these are considered as a part of a moment in life that everyone experience. You know, it is considered as normal. You know, having stress, depression, anxiety have its own um, reasons and its own functions in our life. You know, um, as much as the non-living things, they require certain force, for them to move. So do the stress, depression, and anxiety. I always like to start the topics with defining, from layman understanding what is meant by these three main elements of life. When I say main element of life, there is no doubt that everyone experience all these things as a form of survival. You know, uh, why? Now, non-living thing requires external force for them to move, and as for the living things, the form of stress, depressions, and anxiety is a form for us to move and to achieve um, what we desired in life. Okay, and these three components or three elements, they play a major roles, for us to become who we are today. But let's to get to know from the layman's perspective and layman's understanding what is meant by stress, depression, and anxiety. Now, yes, it is normal, and everyone need to know when the stress, depression, anxiety become abnormal. Now, defining normal, okay? What is being defined as normal? So, whenever I throw out questions, I need to know your prior knowledge to it based on your experiences. So, what is meant by boleh English, boleh BM, boleh okay. Yes, I will do that, because sometimes I might have some glitch, some words are actually a tip of my tongue and all of a sudden it's went off. So what is stress, what is depression, and what is anxiety, and what is considered as normal? For some people who are having some disturbance, apa kata, ketidakstabilan emosi, in life, they will say that, oh, I'm not normal. So defining normal is actually whenever uh, most people are doing it within that groups or that community, that what call that particular group of people. you know some may say that normal is based on the cultural base. Some people say that, oh, it's based on the certain criteria had been set, that is considered as normal. But most people, they um, terlepas pandang, when they see that normal can be used in their own way, their personal terms of life. Okay, like let's say for example, fever. Okay, demam. For some people, demam is like only 2-3 days. It's considered as normal. Okay, because that is just the durations that they have during their, over time they have fevers. But beyond that 3 days or 4 days, they become abnormal. So it put people in a situation, it alarm people or it alerts people that, oh, it become abnormal, because I used to have like 3 days of fever, 3 or 4 days. More than 4 days is considered abnormal for me. Okay? So do stress, so do depress, so do anxiety. You know, so stress is considered as something that, uh, well, I have to start off with depression first, because in defining depression, stress, and anxiety, in easier way to understand it is actually based on time, what triggers them and what may cause them. Okay, so depression is always considered as something that been triggered by past experiences. When you say about past experiences, it got to do with any traumatized incidents in life. Okay, that still ongoing until the current days. You know, so like cases like, you are having problems in dealing with these issues, this traumatized experience until today. That is what we call as a depression. One distinctive criteria of depressions as compared to stress and anxiety, most people who are having depressions is actually having this symptom of suicidal thought, committing suicide, self-harming. That is a very distinctive criteria as compared to stress and anxiety. Okay, some people will consider depression as having a black cloud on them. Like wherever you go, they will always say that, oh, I'll always be unlucky. Aku ni selalu malam. All bad things happens to me. That is in the mind of those people who are having depressions. Now, what about stress? When we talk about depression, it's caused by or triggered by the past experience or any traumatized experience that still, until the current days, stress is stress is considered as something that been triggered by the current situations. Okay, like final exam. Okay, assignments as for students. What else? Financial, overloads, works, uh, so stress is considered as a current trigger. Okay, and if we put this depression as past, caused by past, stress is considered as triggered by the current issues. Anxiety, on the other hand, is caused by the futures. you know so we got past, present, and future. So what is meant by future? As for students, you might consider about, okay, will there be a job for me after I graduate, for example? What's gonna happen next? My final exam, can I score my final exam? What will be my results? And then as for the postgraduate students, for your viva, you always have this kind of butterfly in your stomach. How my viva will be. Some people can't sleep. They have this panic attack. Going for interview. Okay, so this what may cause anxiety. Okay, so if we put things, everything, this depression, stress, and anxiety, it seems to be so normal. In a state that we can cope all these things. But it depends on each and individual how they see the situation. Okay, so that is a clear understanding for laymen. I'm not going to use the psychological definition, because this is not psychology 101, or this is not clinical psychology class. But then, knowing that, oh, if I were to have, or if I were to feel this it's either depression, stress, anxiety, then I'm a normal human being now. What we are worried about is for those who are having in a state of they don't feel anything. Tomorrow will be their final exam. They just don't feel anything. Or it's going to be like viva. Oh, okay, viva. So what's wrong with it? Okay, it's okay, but then it becomes not okay when you are in a state of emotionless towards something. Okay, on the other hand, those who are extremely carried over carried over about the overthinking about the situation. Okay, so this is a state where depression, stress, anxiety become abnormalities. Become abnormal and can be classified as work in the workplace scenario. It can trigger to mental illness situation. In clinical, we call it for depression. There are a few categories of depression. So do anxiety. Okay. Now, but what we are going to talk today is actually more on how we cope. Okay, how we cope in these three situations. Depression, stress, anxiety. How do we actually cope with this? For some people, every individuals have their own way in coping, in dealing. Okay, but then what mislead us is actually we always refers ourselves in our coping strategies, you know, by actually following or adapting other people way of dealing with this situation. Now this is where the mistakes come in. I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but we always use things as our references. Okay, and most cases it doesn't work on us. Okay, it doesn't work on us. Let's say, for example, if you are in a stressful condition and people simply say that, okay, go for vacation. Okay, go for vacation. They always say, okay, I want to go for vacation, because people say that one way to cope with stress is going for vacation. But for you, it might triggers another stressful conditions, because going for vacation requires strong financial. You know where to go. It just suits you. And the place is doesn't seem to in line with your interest. So it creates another stressful condition. Okay, so few tips that I'm going to give today is basically it's about a practical one, but putting in your own way. Okay, so we're going to look into it. But before that, uh, there's one questions coming in. It's about how can we avoid burnout in every task we are doing. Okay, first thing first, you need to know what is considered as burnout. You know, burnout is actually happens in stress, in stress category. Whereby burnout is like things that go beyond your 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 limits. Okay, kemampuan, your ability. You know, but I always refers, based on experiences. For your information, I've been in the area for the past like 22 years, inshallah. Okay, so most of the time when I see clients with this situation of stressful conditions, I come into conclusions that stress is actually an option for an individual. Why did I say so? Because stress, most of the time, when I mentioned earlier that stress is caused by current situations, you know, one of the main issues in stress is actually procrastinating. Yeah, you're procrastinating about things, and then it becomes each and every day what do you call that, it increase. Makin, let's say kerja makin lama makin bertambah, makin lama bertambah, means that you don't tackle it at the first place. So burnout means that you cannot cope anymore. Okay, like let's say, for example, you've been given like probably like 2 semesters in preparing proposal. Okay, and then you keep on delaying. Okay, I'll do it later, blah 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 kind of things, until the time comes, the deadline is almost there. This is the you feel the burnout. When I say feeling the burnout, is the situation where it doesn't hit you in here, but it affects your behaviors, it affects your emotion, everything. So burnout is when someone at birth. I've seen clients before at their burnout stage. They seems to be like lost, blur, blank, kind of thing. Okay, so I'm talk about the how to cope within the topic later on about not to avoid. You know, as normal human being, when things come to us, it's not about avoid, because you are in the situation. It's about managing and handling. You know, something in life is not about avoiding. Okay, but the way you tackle it from the beginning. Okay, inshallah I'll try to answer it later on, Nira. But as for now, that is the basic understandings about burnout. Okay, some people in this kind of situation, another thing that I realized was actually during the COVID, um, it shows a significant increase in depression and anxiety, not about stress. Okay, and depression and anxiety do affect one another. So it always be like these two interactions, the depression and anxiety are coexist. Okay, I'm not sure whether that is the best word to describe it, but it's always be stress, always be left behind when it comes to the three situations. Okay, now, especially doing research with many repeated tasks. Okay, again, I'm gonna answer. Remind me, I'm gonna answer it towards the later of sessions. Okay. Now, uh, let's look into this situation. Now, in talking about these three elements, people need to understand about avoiding safe labeling. Okay. Uh, most people during like I mentioned during the PKPs, during the COVID, most people say that they are having depressions. You know, our current students, our present students, most of them say that I'm having depression, blah blah blah, anxiety kind of things, but it doesn't reflect in their appearance. I would say it doesn't reflect in their actions. It doesn't reflect. So that's why self labeling is considered as um, dangerous for me. Okay. Um, Now we do have this test, or I think you're familiar with it, what we call as a DAS, depression, anxiety, stress scales. You know, as for Malaysians, it's considered as ujian saringan standard Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia. Okay, that you need to undergo. And most of the question we have two versions: is DAS 21 and DAS 42. Uh, and it can show whether which stage you are in. So most of the time when people say that, oh, I'm having depression, when we run dust test, you know, you are not actually having depression, but you think that you are having depression. And what make things worse is actually you're feeding yourself with these ideas of having depressions or anxiety because of you are loaded with information that you googled, you know, and then you make those so-called criteria of symptoms on you. Well, we do have this what do you call that in clinicals, we have these terms as well, we call it as a hypochondriatic situation, whereby you believe that you experience whatever that you read. Okay, so it doesn't tally there. You know, you read, oh, those people who are having depression, lost interest, you know, having changes in their sleep pattern, having difficulties of what do you call that, breathing, sweating, heart pounding, kind of things. And then you look into yourself like, oh yeah, I do have all this, without referring to experts, psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, or counselors. You are judging yourself, you are labeling yourself that, oh, now I'm having depression based on this criteria, based on these symptoms. That is the worst case scenario that could happen to someone. Okay, and they tend to isolate themselves. They don't share to others. They don't, you know, they don't pull themselves out from the misery. You know, they believe that you are uh having all this. Okay, but actually you're not. Okay, that is why it is important for you to go for the experts. You know, have yourself diagnosed. It's not about having the fears, like people will judge you, kind of things. No, you know, having this what do you call that, the psychological effects or the mental health is as much as important, taking care of your physical pain. That most people always look for, you know, taking care of their physical pain rather than psychological pain. So be very careful about that one. Okay. Okay. Okay, Dr. Zack, question, where you are not having depressions, but you think you have a depression. Is there any online test that we can try for free to measure depression? Yeah, as I did mention earlier, is DAS test, depression, anxiety, stress scale test. Okay, DAS. We have two versions, 21 and 42. Now we do come into, you know, few clients. They did this DAS test, and what makes things worse is actually they have this self interpretation on them rather than referring again. they did not refer the results or have the result interpreted by experts, by professionals, you know. So be very careful again about that one. Okay? And you have to look into the credibility and reliability of the free test. We have this test at the PKU, our clinics, and we have that things in also in counseling center. Do come to us. Do not keep yourself back there. Believe that you are having, because belief systems, people are being governed by the irrational belief systems. Just because the way they see themselves. Okay. Okay. Now, let me just, it's almost like half an hour. I haven't start with the coping strategies. Let me just start with coping strategies. Okay. And from time to time, no worries, you can, if you like to on your mic and ask question, please do so. Okay. So let's look first at the how to cope with the a simple tips how to cope with stress first. Now, in any of these three, you know, exercise will always be among the best therapy. I'm not saying about treatment, but therapy. Why exercise? Now, uh, there's a saying in the Quran in Islam says that al aqlu salim min jasad salim. Healthy minds come from a healthy body. Healthy minds come from the healthy body. Means that the way you look at yourself. Okay? People are depressed because they think that their past experience haunt them. Okay? They feel stressed because they say that I'm incapable of doing things. I always been compared to other people. People were having stress. They were saying that, anxiety. They were always saying that, oh, I'm not sure what's gonna be, what's gonna happen to me. The feeling of insecure kind of things. You know, take a walk. When we say about exercise, it's not about going to gym or going for workout. No. Okay. The simple rule, the simple principle when you talk about exercise in dealing with mental illness issues or mental health issues is actually getting your blood flow good, your blood flows well, to your mind, your brain, sorry, to your brain. Okay. Now, exercise will put someone in to stabilize. There are a lot of things actually to stabilize your hormones, to stabilize your heart rates, and even in counseling center, referring to Dr. Zaliha just now, that we also have this biofeedback. Now, in dealing with stress, in identifying stress, when we say about exercise, you know, stress can be identified based on three um, ways. One is the biofeedback. Biofeedback we refers to the your heart rate variability. You know, your rhythm, your heart rate rhythm, your pulse rhythm, and things. Second is the muscle feedbacks. Now, normally people who are having stress, the muscle, few part of their muscles is having tense. You can actually experience, back of your neck, your back shoulders, you know, and your for women's, you can feel tense at your breast, you know, at your what do you call that, kawasan ari-ari, you know. So these are the areas it seems to tense. Okay. And the final one is, and the third one is actually you can identify stress conditions of someone based on the what do you call that, the body temperatures. Okay. There's thermal feedback. We call it as a thermal feedback. So we got biofeedback, we got muscle feedback, and we got thermal feedback. Okay. So it always relates these three things. You cannot only simply say that by having some of your muscle tense, oh, I'm having stress. So that is why people always say that exercise is considered one good therapy. You know, take a walk, a brisk walk. If you are a postgraduate student, if you're stuck somewhere, put on your jogging shoes, take a walk. Sport shoes, just take a walk. make yourself sweat and come back to whatever you're doing, your thesis or whatever. Okay, that is the first one. How severe depression compared to stress? Is very severe. Like I did mention just now, those people who are having depression, one distinctive criteria that we can see is actually suicidal thought, attempting suicide, self-harming, you know, to certain stage, I've seen clients that actually jadi budak-budak. They become very childish, not only by their actions, but through their, what do you call that, their, apa nama, kata-kata, you know. I've seen one case, a very serious one, um, in the sessions, normal, normal conversation, and all of a sudden, her depression was, if I'm not mistaken, it was MDD, manic depressive disorder, under the classification of depression. And all of a sudden, the voice tone changed into a child tone. Tapi saya tak nak, saya takut, I'm so afraid. Kind of thing. I was like, okay. So this is severe. Okay. While stress, I did mention earlier, it is an option. Most people, without they realize, they opt to be stressed. They decide to go for stress. Okay. Because why? Because overthinking can cause stressful conditions. Leads to stressful conditions. You know, we have a top 10 list for the stressful conditions. One of the things is adjustment. Adjustment is always be a stressful one. Okay, so that is how severe depression is compared to stress. Okay, so obviously stress, what do you call that? Exercise, like 3 times a week, like half an hour or 1 hour or 1.5 hours, just go. For those who are practicing like yoga, tai chi, what else, just go for it. Anything that makes your body move, your mind move. Because when you talk about psychology, it always be an interaction of three things. They will always say it's about ABC. A is affections, B is behavior, C is cognitive. These three things is interrelated, you know, in order to classify someone is having that situation, you know. So affections, that is emotions, B is behavior, C is cognitive. If your mind says that, oh, I'm having stress, I'm having depression, I'm having anxiety, but your behavior, your bodily conditions does not indicate, okay, your emotions seems to be like, I'm okay, blah blah kind of thing. Yes, there is a possibility of what we call as high functioning depressions. Yes, high functioning anxiety. Despite of having anxiety, you still can fulfill everything. You manage to make things work. You know, so but then quite sometimes you're having this sober, you're feeling down, you're having fears, you know. So we look into that another possibility. So depression, stress, and anxiety is only a big words, but within it, the sub areas or the sub criteria for that, and different kind of clinical situations only can be diagnosed by psychiatrists. So do not self-label yourself, saying that, oh, I'm having this, without any proper diagnosis. Okay. Okay. Second strategy. First, we have exercise. Second strategy in dealing is your diets, you know, your food consumptions. Most people have the tendency during the stressful conditions, the depressed or the anxiety, they tend not to take foods, or they tend to take junk food, unhealthy one. Eh? And worst case scenario, they skip their meals. And another worst case scenario, they consume alcohol during at these three stage. You know, during at this 3 stage, do not skip your meal. Okay, when we say healthy foods during this time, you need a healthy food. As I mentioned earlier, healthy minds come from a healthy body. A basic principle of our body: if you are weak, you can't think straight. Especially those who are postgraduate students, this moment, this time around, especially when you start writing, do not skip meal. Most cases, they seem to, clients or students, they say that, oh, I can't think, ideas are not there. I just can't write. When we check back, you know, obviously sleep pattern is another issue, but we are talking about the diets, the food consumptions. They don't eat, they take a lot of sugars. Okay, they yeah, some are taking alcohols, some are taking the substance, but you're not eating properly. How could you do a thinking without, feeding your brains with food, with a healthy one? Okay, so that's why in some cases we can see people are losing weight, when depressed, especially, and when depressed and stressed, they're losing weight, and for some they are gaining weight. So we look into the possibility of individual who are having the increase or decrease of weight, like plus minus 30% from their body weight. Okay, so kind of things that people need to understand when it comes to these 3 states: go and eat properly. Please look after your diets. Okay, if your body is weak, you can't think straight, and your mind will blown away, start thinking irrationally, start having all those fears. You got tremors, you got sweating out of nowhere. Eat properly, okay, and eat healthy one. If you need, you know if you're in a state of writing, in the process of preparing your thesis, I would suggest stand by, having with you dark chocolates. uh, that's a For me, that's the best one, because some study shows that dark chocolate really increase your epinephrine, your happy moods, your dopamine level, kind of thing. Okay, because it's highly related to it. Okay, fruit, don't skip this one. Okay, because also in a state of anxiety, some people might experience constipations. Okay, sembelit. Okay, and then cirit-berit, diarrhea, you know, fevers, and then what do you call that, flus. It's not because of the weather. It's not because of your body condition. Okay, please do not skip. That is why UTM, feel blessed that in UTM, there always be a lot of what do you call that, assistance for our students, about providing foods in cafeterias, free one. Yeah, if not free, there's a cheaper one. We got this Keluarga Malaysia meals. Go for it, because we want you to study and have a healthy minds in during your study period. Okay, so your diet won't cure depression, but some foods might. Yes. Okay, like I say, most people ask me with this question: can clinical cases or mental illness can be cured? For some, it cannot be cured, but we can do some, what do you call that? We can minimize the impact. In some situation, we can control. Okay, because mental illness can cause by multifactorial situation. One is inheritance, and another one can be caused by environments. Okay, so do not rush in looking or in curing your situations. but most of the times, okay, just go slow, because if you rush, it creates another issues, and we don't want things to get worse. Okay, so foods. Okay, try to, if for those who are coffee lovers, okay, yes, you can take coffees, but do not take coffees just for the sake of um one means of apa nama um one mean of I lost the words pula. Uh, to suppress. Some people are taking caffeine. They think, they believe that caffeine can suppress their condition. Not actually, okay? Because too much is gonna wind you up. It's gonna make you more stressed, because caffeine can increase you punya what do you call that? This heart rates. Okay, try to cut down. You know, I met clients who completely cut down their caffeines. I say, and then another problems come in. You know, the body cannot accept. The body needs the caffeine. They become tremors. You know, I say go for caffeine if you are. But then you have to control the amount of it. You know, 3-in-1 or instant coffee, most likely try to cut it down. Okay, a 3-in-1 or sodas, because caffeine can also come from the sodas, the carbonated drinks. Please do control about this. Okay, so you got exercise, eatings, your diets, control your caffeines. um okay. Time out. How frequent do you go for time out? Okay, now our body have its own right. Okay, our body have its own right, and the beauty of our creations, our body, we have these two what do you call that, a very blessed system. One is alarm system, and another one is what we call as a flushing system that we have in our body. Now, what is meant by alarm system? Now, when you hungry, go and find food. When you feel sleepy, go and sleep. That is alarm. Okay, please respond to your body. I know that you need to meet your deadline. I know that you need to complete your assignments, your papers, your thesis. Okay, but do listen to your body when it starts signaling you. Okay, if you are unable to 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 listen to your body gonna start rebelling. And how it rebels? Let's say, for example, if you're hungry, you don't find food, you don't go find, you don't eat. Okay, and later on, what happens? You know, you're gonna get gastrics. You're gonna get bloated in knee. And then you start like what, having this dizziness, kind of things. Okay, so please, how do you know that you are hungry? Your stomach is grumbling. Apa nama, bunyi. For some people, their hands is shaking or tremoring. you know for some people, they just simply can't think. Okay, so please fulfill your stomach. Okay, fill your stomach with food. So do sleep. Now our body can be trained and retrained, quote unquote. Okay, now some people say that, I'm having problems with my sleep, and some are labeling themselves that I'm having insomnia. you know just because you can't sleep for 1 or 2 days, you don't get insomnia. Okay, and it only happens like during a certain you know period of time. To classify a situation as a clinical situation, it must meet the criteria of how long have the situation been prolonged. Okay, Now, if you were to only have sleep problems whenever your final exam, whenever you're preparing for your presentation or for your viva, that is considered normal. Because why? Because you have trained your body to 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 sleep late and to wake early, to wake up earlier, or probably to wake up late. It only on the basis of you have trained your body. So that is why in undergraduate situation during the final exam, they seems to sleep like what, late. For some, they sleep too early and wake up early. Okay, and then after the final exam, they seems to be like what, sleep like the whole day of it. Okay, so we train our body and we can retrain our body. Okay, next is the flushing system. When you say about flushing system, okay, consider this. When you drink a lot of water, what's going to happen? You know, you urinate. You know, it doesn't keep there. Whenever that you are, what call it? Whenever you are in a warm place, hot out there, you start sweating. Why sweat? Sweat function as to stabilize your body temperature. You know, so do your emotion. You know, when you are sad and you need to cry, you want to cry, cry out. Do not keep your emotions. Express your emotions. You know, crying is a form of what do you call that? It's a flushing system for the sadness or overwhelm or fear. Okay, what happens when you wanted to cry but you keep to yourself, you hold yourself from crying? What's gonna happen? You know, so it really bugs you inside. Okay, if you need to share things with people, share out. Okay, so this is another case that happens. Those who are having depression, they don't share with people, and then especially those who are hooked up in social media, they post their status about the conditions that they're having, and some people say that, okay, come and share with me. Yeah, uh, you can talk to me, blah blah kind of thing. Now the problem with those who are having depression was actually they have trust issues. This is not the first time they shared to people, but what happened next was actually when they started to share things. you know these people who are at the first place offer themselves to be a listener. They simply hold themselves in between, say that, oh, I don't think I can assist you, your problem is too big for me, blah 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 kind of thing. That's why those people who are having depressions, having trust issues, it's not like they don't share with others. Before, they do share with others, but the problem is they're always being betrayed by those people who offer themselves. you know So if you do meet any of your friends or your colleagues or any of your family members, they're having depressions, especially, come to them, not to offer them, tell me, what is your problem? No, that is a killing questions, actually. You know, I'm your friend. You can tell me, you can share with me. No, that will be a killing one. What you can actually do is okay, you read about his status or her status, you simply say them, okay, uh, better that, come, I'll treat you for a cup of coffee. Simple as that one. Okay, and let them voluntarily, you know, share with you. And when people share with you, the most that you can do is actually be a listener or a shoulder to cry on. Do not offer any suggestions. Do not offer any nasihat, advice. Because why? People who are having depression, especially, whatever people say goes. Okay, and those who are having these three conditions, the killing words that they don't want to hear is actually sabarlah, sabarlah, be patient. No, that is the killing words. you know when I thought what do you call that? When I gave lectures for this technique in counseling before, I was a part-time lecturer back in UIE. If any of my students were to state this as an answer, I'm going to give simply zero, direct zero. Because they don't want to hear it, especially those who are having grief. Grief is specified under the depression. Not, use this word, take them out from this misery, by offering them like cup of coffee, hanging out with them. Hey, Dr. Zack, jom kita tengok wayang. I've seen you kerja macam nak rock apa, jom tengok wayang. Kan? Okay. Jom kita pergi Chamo. Don't ask about the problem. They are not going to simply tell you about the problem. Okay. Everything. Okay. Next, what do we have? We have this. Obviously sleep, rest well. You got time out, and then now it's about rest well. Things will always be there. Your work, your study will always be there. But if you don't treat yourself well with a good night's sleep, well, some people may say that, how could I sleep? Because, my mind just can't shut down. I just can't turn off my mind. I keep on thinking. Those in the case of anxiety. Now, the thing is, consider this one. Whenever that you are having a big problem, okay, whenever you want to sleep, assume that you are holding the on-off switch there. Try to get it off. That's why some suggestion you say that, if you're having depression, stress, or anxiety, one way of getting a good night rest is actually, there are a lot of things. Exercise would triggers a body that prepares you good night sleep. And if you think that you can't sleep just because of you have so many things to think, my question is actually, what are those things that you think about? Most of the time, people are wasting time thinking that they are thinking. Like, here's the fact is, you are not actually thinking. You don't know what you are thinking. You think that you are thinking, but you are not thinking anything. That's what burdens you. Okay, in any of the cases, depression, stress, and anxiety. Okay, learn to let things go. It's not about forget. Some people say that, or in order for you to sleep well, try to forget things. No, we are human beings. We just can't forget things that simple. It's not simply that boleh lupa. No, cannot. Because accepting how well we are in accepting facts, how well we are in accepting problems, how well we are accepting treatment from our surroundings. Because there are things in life that you shouldn't be thinking of. Just go through, because life is a process. Okay, I'm about to finish. Inshallah, it's almost like 11:25 now. I try to carry down. So in handling and in managing things in life, if you are facing depression, stress, and anxiety, it is normal, because you are a normal human being. Things happen in life because life is a journey. Life is a process that you need to go through in making a better you, to be the best versions of yourself. You become matured just because of all these experiences. So if you're a postgraduate student, going for PhD teach you, I will use the word it actually educates you, to manage yourself well, to see things in a different perspective. It's not about knowledge per se. Okay? It's not about the thesis that you managed to come up with, no. But more than that, what you learn throughout the process, what you've experienced throughout the process of postgraduate study. Okay? So this, I would say, this is the valuable things that you gain, that you earn throughout your postgraduate study. So if you are having stress, depression, and anxiety throughout your studies, you know, this is considered normal. Because why? Because you're gonna learn what is failure, and you're gonna what do you call that, hargai, you're gonna appreciate, you know, the pain, the experience that you gain throughout this postgraduate journey. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here. I know it's there are still a lot of things that I did not cover, but I think as for now, okay, Dr. Zaliha, as for now, I think um, this can be a top up for what you are doing now. But I think I might miss one thing. That is, do not detach yourself from your belief system. That is your religion. If you are a Muslim, if you are a Buddhist, if you are a Christian, you know, if you are a Hindu, talk to your God. Whenever you have problems, talk to your God, because human being might not, people might not be understands what you are experiencing. Talk to your God, because I've experienced this one client, a Chinese boy. He's a Christian, you know. Back during my diploma, back during the my what call that, service in UDM KL. I asked this boy because he's been depressed since he was 10. He was being battered by his father, a boy, Sarawakian, a Chinese, and then he suffered depression since was kids, in diagnosed with MDD kind of thing. So the traumatized experience was actually been battered, highly expectation from father about the study kind of thing. And then simply I asked him, because I've tried breathing technique on him. It doesn't seem to work. Then I asked him simply, when was the last time you talked to your God? He was so surprised. What do you mean, sir? Yeah, when was the last time you talked to your God? Like, before you sleep? I said, I can't remember. I don't do that. Okay. Would you like to try one? I simply give a simple script to him. Okay. And I give it as a homework after the session. So, been a week after that, he came back to me. He said that it become it start working on him. See, because um say that he can actually, you know share things without expecting feedback. Okay, so do not detach yourself from whatever religions that you have, your belief system. And as a for Muslim, for us as a Muslim, okay, we had been given a structured script, you know beginning with the niyat, until we give salam, in our prayers, and the Fatiha. The Al-Fatiha itself, it means, in the openness, iftah. In Arabic, iftah means open. Fataha, sorry, Fataha means open. So we do talk to your God whenever you have all these issues, because you might not be, you might not uh, find the answers from humans, from people, not even your parents, you know, who you think know you well, might not be from them. Okay, wallahu alam sawab, inshallah. Okay, yes, Dr. Zack did mention kind of things. Yes, okay. And as for us in counseling centers and PKU, you are most welcome. You don't need to have a problem. You don't need to have a problems to come to us. If you need somebody to talk to, or just be listener, do come to us, inshallah. We are in counseling center here, and even in clinics in PKU, they have this unit newly formed. There is unit kesihatan mental. And with that, I end this what call that, the is it lecture series for me. Dr. Zack, thank you so much for the invitation. Inshallah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zulfikar. That was a rich, full sharing, I would say. And from your talk, actually, I think there's 8 important points that I have captured, yeah, Dr. Zulfikar, and I've shared it in the chat section. Student, feel free to just look at it because these are all from Dr. Zulfikar's sharing session just now. And to do with perhaps if you're not sure whether you're depressed or not, you can always try the DES test. And Dr. Zulfikar, I hope
Yes,
that's the right one. I think
yes,
it's professor, local professors, yeah.
yes.
So maybe we can try the DAS test, rather than believe in any, unofficial test, right? So might as well use this one. Okay, and then you also welcome just now all students, staff as well. We have staff in here to go to counseling, what do you call, center,
Yep.
right? I've shared the link to how to contact the counseling session, and Dr. Zulfikar also mentioned if you're not comfortable with the panels there, there's always another option that the counseling session center will suggest. Yeah,
Yep.
that is one. And then yeah, I do understand sometimes, we as a person, students or staff, we are not really confident in open up, right? So there's always a way on how to open up to your therapist. Do have a look at the link on how to do that. And Dr. Zulfikar also mentioned about getting a good night's sleep. Oh my God, I myself also having that issue. Thank you for reminding. I shall try some of the tips given there, starting with dimming out the lights, okay, at night.
It
Okay.
depends. It depends. You can put some what do you call that? Bau-bauan before sleep. Make
Yeah.
yourself, you know, make yourself happy before sleep.
Right, right.
Okay.
So whatever it takes, yeah. So the what do you call diffuser,
Yes, that's it.
cool light. So whatever it takes. Okay.
Aromatherapy.
Okay.
There are a
Thank
lot of
you. We'll
out
try
there.
that.
No worries.
It's a good reminder, by the way, yeah. Other than getting a good night's sleep, you also talk about the importance of diet. Okay, that is something to look into, especially when we do research. We do not have time to just get up and do light exercise. We tend to eat all the junk foods, that one have to change. And then you also talk about exercise, okay, which are all we are aware of, but normally we tend to ignore and forget, okay, as we
Uh,
work hard. Hmm.
After that, I forgot something.
Yeah,
Since you mentioned this. Okay. Yes, most people know, but they are not doing. So
yeah.
these two words, knowing and doing. Some people do without knowing. Some people know, but they are not doing. So make sure you are doers and you know what you're doing. Okay, these two words come in. Inshallah.
True, true. So it's a good reminder in a way. And you also state that the importance of having a support group, not necessarily that you have to get help from professional. That is one thing I'm aware of. You can create or start a support group of your own, that also helps if you think that you're the shy type, right? And you do need to have your own circle of friends. Having a circle of friends is very important, okay? So you may want to talk to your friends, for example, yeah, support group. And finally, Dr. Zulfikar, you state the spiritual belief or faith. Yeah, it matters a lot. So yeah, 8 points, 8 important points I managed to get from your talk, Dr. Sofika, and we thank you so much for this valuable sharing session. To all students, okay, staff who also join, do not feel left out, do not feel shy. You can always refer to the counseling panels, including Dr. Zulfikar, yeah? So Dr. Zulfikar, do you have any last word for the participant?
Yeah, I welcome you guys. Since that one question from Atika, you can walk in or you can go to our FB page, the Facebook. Our phone line, it's been 3 years now. Okay, it's not functioning. Okay, just to close up, just to wrap up, seems that you got might the opportunity to come to us. So we have in Negara Barat, outside in UK, in US. counseling center always been a packed place, with students, you know. So I just welcome you guys, and no worries. Confidentiality is intact with us. There is the priority of us, and uh, maximize, get to meet your PAs and your supervisors, because they're gonna guide you not only in academics, they're gonna assist you in your personal life. But when I say personal life, doesn't mean that, oh, I'm having a problem with my husband. But no, not that kind of thing. Okay, your PAs, yeah, your academic what do you call that? When I say academic advisors, meet them. Do not stay in a room. Okay, we don't want cases like committing suicide, attempting suicide, kind of thing. There are cases that is like quite sometimes, and do not feel what do you call that, by seeing counselors, or by seeing you have this stigma about bad thing about yourself or other people. If you see that your friends need assistance, bring them along. Assist them. If you can't say anything, just bring them to us. We try to assist them wherever we can. Okay, wallahu alam. So thank you so much again.
Thank you for the answer. I hope that helps, Nur Atika. I mean, also you get to choose your counselor, Dr. Zulfikar,
Yep.
whoever you feel convenience with, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That is nice. Okay. So I hope that helps. If anything, we can get in touch with Dr. Zulfikar. I've shared the UTM Counseling Center contact. Okay, you can always click on the link, or Dr. Zulfikar give his handphone number straight
Yep.
away. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Okay, feel
Just text me.
free. Right. If you don't feel comfortable with male or counselor like Dr. Zulfikar, there's also female counselor, yeah, Dr.
Yes.
Zulfikar? Right, lovely. So again, we thank you so much for your time, Dr. Zulfikar.
Okay.
I shall share this recording later in YouTube, and I'll share it through our website and to you as well, Dr. Zulfikar.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for your time again, everybody, and to you, thank you again. Have a pleasant day. Hope to see you again, Dr. Zulfikar. Thank
Okay.
you.
Signing out. Thank you so much,
Bye,
guys,
everyone.
and all the
Thank
audiences.
you.
Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.